Is it just me? Or does Sawyer kind of look like the guy from Nickelback in this episode?
Yeah, no, actually, that's real. It's the hair.
The
It's
hair
the bad extensions.
and the beard combo, I think specifically in this episode. Well, because I
Yeah.
think actually he doesn't usually have a beard.
Not like a big one, no, but I guess it's been,
He's been passed out for a few days, so he's not had time to shave.
He's not been shaving
Yeah.
since the raft, I guess.
Yeah. So I think because of that, and also because, as we learned in the audio commentary, there were some bad extensions going on,
Yeah.
it really is giving that to me.
Yeah, so he had his hair cut for a photo shoot, and then they needed it long for this episode, so he got these extensions put in, and they don't look very good.
No. They were saying Evangeline Lilly was saying in the audio commentary, they just
Like,
look so
he
fake.
hated it, and they
So
looked
bad and
terrible.
so fake.
And
So welcome to Lost All Caps.
yes,
That was my intro
hello,
line.
I'm Velvet,
And I'm Ariel.
and this is Season 2, Episode 9, What Kate Did.
Or episode 37 of the podcast overall.
We're nearly at 42, gang.
Oh my god, it's gonna be so exciting!
What a day that's gonna be.
Oh, it's gonna be brilliant.
So, yeah. So we kind of broached this a little bit last week.
Mm-hmm.
But me and Ariel have very different opinions of this episode.
Yes.
Namely that I think it's really good and Ariel thinks it sucks.
I do think it sucks. I do.
But before we even unpack that, there's a creature in the room that needs to be addressed.
I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about.
Which is this situation on Ariel's shoulder.
I simply think I anticipated that this episode might be a little bit taxing, a little bit emotional, a little bit stressful. Because, as we've said, you really like this episode and I really dislike this episode, let's go with. So I think, and of course, despite the way that I look, I hate confrontation. So I think I'm entitled to have my emotional support Mike Wazowski with me for the record.
Well, you should wish you told me in advance, because what if I wanted an emotional support item? What if I wanted an emotional support massive plastic cat head?
You can bring the massive plastic cat head if
I
that's
will.
going to help you. You're entitled to emotional support as well as I am.
I'll have my emotional support massive plastic cat head.
Perfect.
It's actually not plastic.
Is
It's
it
like,
not?
It's like ceramic or something.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to channel that guy who hired the clown. For
I
the
was going to say
meeting.
it's giving the guy with the clown.
Yeah.
The meeting where he knew he was going to get fired, so he
Yeah.
brought a clown.
We're both kind of clowning.
Yeah.
Well, this is perfect, I think, what better way to start the discussion. The most normal podcast out there.
So shall we get into it?
I think we should. Before we get cracking on what Kate did, both literally and in terms of the episode, something that we need to tell you guys is that we made a slight error. Or
we did, yes. We did.
Or we just want to apologise because essentially we didn't realise that season 2 episode 1 had audio commentary.
Mm-hmm.
We have now since realised it and listened to it, and so we just thought we would start this episode
A little whistle stop
by just sharing some things that we learnt from that audio commentary and some things that we discussed. So actually, unlike a lot of the audio commentaries, in fact all of them I think that we've listened to so far, they usually have the actor who is the lead in that episode.
Yeah, I think apart from the pilot, they don't have anyone.
No.
But they have J.J. Abrams for that one, I think, don't they?
Possibly, I don't remember.
I can't really remember.
But this one doesn't have any actors in it. So we had Damon Lindelof, who wrote the episode, Carlton Cuse, Brian Burke, and Jack Bender, who directed the episode.
Mm-hmm.
So it was actually really interesting.
It was very interesting. It gave us a lot of
Apart from the fact that they all had the same voice, so I couldn't figure out who was speaking at any given point.
I never knew who was talking. I just kind of absorbed them all as one man. They're like, it's Lost, you know? It's the voice of Lost.
That is the voice of Lost, actually. That's
so I'm
tricky.
just
It's like that Johnny Baseball image.
Yeah.
It's like all the baseball players' faces.
Yeah. It's the voice of Lost.
It's the voice of Lost.
But we have some fun,
Some fun little bits of
things
info.
about, like, the style of the show and stuff. Like, for me, like, one of the biggest things that I took from what they said is that they specifically pointed out that in terms of, like, shooting style, they never use establishing shots.
Yes, I noted that down too.
Thought that was really interesting because I'd never noticed it, but as soon as they pointed it out, I was like, oh my god, of course.
Yeah.
Like, it's always, like, straight into the action. They never do, like, they said, like, exterior hospital day or whatever. I mean, they never do that. And I think that's actually really great as a way to just, like, immediately drop you into the action of every given scene.
Yeah, and they use the word kinetic, I think, in the audio commentary, and I'm like, yeah, the show really does feel kinetic. You know, it is always moving.
Mm-hmm.
Are you laughing because that's a bit of a wankery thing to say?
No, I'm just, I've realised that if I look down to speak, my voice echoes through the giant plastic cat head. So if at any point I randomly start echoing...
I will say, listeners, I would love to give an explanation as to why we have a random plastic cat head in the living room, but I simply can't. I have no idea.
The only explanation I can give you is that there's a TK Maxx receipt inside.
Oh, well, that explains it.
We
can't be trusted in TK Maxx.
And our mother likes to go into HomeSense and come out with the most insane things you've ever seen. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I thought that was really interesting. Also, though, on the flip side, something that I found really funny is that they said, like, they decided to stop using the caves because it was boring.
Yeah, so actually, that first episode is the last time we see the caves, which I think is right. I think there's maybe a couple scenes. There's a scene in Adrift, which is, like, that same point, but from Charlie and Claire's perspective.
Yeah.
I think that might be the last time we're ever in the caves. And as a viewer... I kind of forgot about the caves, and then I was like, wait, hang on a minute, why did we stop doing the caves? Because it does make more sense to live there.
It's like all the things that Jack said are still true about it being temperature controlled and easy to protect and having the running water
Michael
and everything.
built those showers, all of these things. So why do they not stay at the caves? And the simple reason is aesthetics.
Yeah.
The writers just went, and the directors of photography just went, well, it's more fun and more interesting to shoot on the beach.
Yeah, they were like, it's kind of boring, it's very grey, it didn't look very nice. I think also it's like that more cramped space, which kind of gets swapped out for the hatch.
Yeah.
And they really enjoyed using the hatch, and then it just became hatch and beach. I think they probably didn't want to lose the beach also. They said, actually, in the What Kate Did audio commentary,
which we've also listened to,
that they try and make sure there's like a shot of the water in every episode, because they're like, it feels like you got to remind them, you know.
Yeah, and also it's like, well, if we didn't show that, then we might as well be filming in a film set, you know?
Yeah.
Might as well show this gorgeous
I think
location.
they really didn't want to lose the beach, and if they were trying to have 3 different sets... It makes sense. It does make sense. They mention the caves a few more times this season, but I think they really don't use it.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm all here for it, for the only reason being it just doesn't look as nice.
I mean, I am, like, on board with that in the sense that, like, sure, it didn't look as good and it was always very dark, but I do think, like, practically it annoyed me a little bit that they just stopped going to the caves, because I was like, come on, man.
Mm-hmm. So we got a little bit of info about the actual sets used for the hatch as well, which I found really interesting. So they said they had 4 different sets for the hatch, which 4, but also interesting that it's not all filmed in one place. And the actual sort of shaft that they go down, a lot of that is CGI, but they did also have a 20-foot hole that they had built on the island on that day, and they made a point about saying that Evangeline Lilly is quite literally falling down that hole.
They were actually dropping her down.
They did actually drop her.
They said that they did it like once, and they dropped her like 10 feet or whatever, and everyone was like, oh god. And then she went, okay, let's do it again.
Let's do it again. It's a running theme for her. She likes to
She's
climb
just like,
trees and do all her own stunts.
I get the feeling that, like, they turn around on, like, a filming day and they turn back and she's up a tree.
Yeah. Completely. And also, one thing that I found really fun as a little bit of behind the scenes info, so there's there's a bit where Jack is at the top of the shaft and he's holding the rope, and then he sort of jumps to kind of like abseil himself down. Then we get a cut to the Desmond flashback scene in the stadium. Then once that scene is finished, we cut back to him landing on the ground. Now, I always thought that was really nice because it's like we talk about how sometimes the characters are thinking about these events and stuff. I really don't think he is thinking about that moment at this point, because why would he be thinking about Desmond? It's just because Desmond's about to show up that it's exciting. But also, the time it would take to remember that scene is not at all the time it would take between.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But the actual reason that they did it like that is because they didn't build the full thing. So they couldn't have a shot of him falling down this really long hole because there wasn't have that. So I was like, wow, that's really fun that like something that's purely practical can actually have really significant,
end up having like an artistic
implications.
significance. Yeah. No, absolutely. I think that's really nice.
What else did I write? Oh, I wrote down, we talked in the episode about how, what was the choice behind using Make Your Own Kind of Music, and we couldn't really find much. But in the audio commentary, they talked about the choice of the song, and Damon Lindelof said that his mum used to listen to Mama Cass on a Sunday morning, vacuum and cry. And I just thought that was such a beautiful phrase, a beautiful image, and perfect for what's going on in the hatch.
So you can really see how that's connected.
Yeah, it's like that kind of really, like, domestic eeriness.
Yeah.
Of the scene.
And they said when they were designing that hatch set, they tried really hard to make it true to what they were building as the hatch, but also make it look like it could just be an apartment anywhere.
Yeah.
They said they kept saying San Francisco.
San Francisco. Just imagine we're in San Francisco.
Your motivation is you're in San Francisco. And yeah, I think that's really, it must have been a really interesting set to design, because in that first scene you want it to look like it could be anywhere, and then after that they talked about, like, they said they wanted it to look like it had gone 30 years with no maintenance, which is interesting.
Yeah, really interesting.
Sort of significance given the timeline they've presented there. Although whether that's just like a sort of, you know,
like a subtext thing.
Yeah, them just being like 30 years with no maintenance, or whether it actually has significance to the timeline of the show.
Yeah.
We're not sure, but I think that's really, really fun.
What else? Oh, we got some great stories, honestly, in this
Yeah.
bit. There was a wonderful story about Henry Ian Cusick, who's the actor who plays Desmond.
Yeah.
They auditioned a lot of people for that part, and then they'd finally found him and were like, he's perfect, we want him, we're going to hire him. And then, who was it? Carlton Cuse, who's one of the showrunners, got a call saying, from whoever was in charge of
the like casting director,
said,
I guess,
saying, hey, I'm sending Henry and Cusick the script. It's an address that's like 2 doors down from you. And he was like, what? Turns out that whilst he was staying in America, he was living in a house literally across the road from Carlton Cuse, which belonged to Brian Cox, the actor.
Yeah.
First of all, insane.
It was like a renting out a spare room situation.
I guess.
And Henry and Cusick had just like gone to stay in it.
Yeah.
For this audition, probably something.
Who knows? But yeah, he lives across the street from Brian Cox, and Desmond was living in that house, and he was like, he made a point about saying, you know, people say that it's unrealistic in our show when characters cross over randomly in the flashbacks.
But there
it
you go.
happens in real life. I just
No,
thought that
it's
was
very
such
funny.
a lovely story.
Something I really liked about what they said about this episode is that they said the phrase "man of science, man of faith" is used to describe like Jack versus John across season 1, but that actually when they were writing this episode, they felt like the man of science, man of faith was just describing Jack.
Yeah.
And it was like this transformation he'd gone on across this series and across this episode specifically. They said, I wrote down specifically the phrasing of, at the end of this episode, Jack, like in the flashbacks, Jack has to confront a miracle.
Within his empiricist world.
Yeah.
I wrote that down too, because I was like, wow. And it really contextualizes the flashbacks in that episode, because they said we realized once we were talking about the narrative that we wanted to present on the island, that it had to be Jack flashbacks in this opening episode to illustrate that man of science, man of faith conflict within him.
Yeah.
And that's definitely coming to an end, or whatever the phrase is, in the on-island stuff for Jack at this point as well, right? Because he's been so man of science at the minute, and now he's meeting Desmond, and he's in the hatch, and things can't be explained, and, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought that was so interesting, to think of Jack as both the man of science and man of faith.
I think it's really great, and I really love it. And I love the phrasing of he has to confront the miracle.
Yeah.
In his, what was it?
Empiricist.
In his empiricist ways.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Really great phrase. Really great. And I wrote down another good phrase, I think. Oh, yeah, I wrote down this sentence. Again, I don't remember from who, because they all sounded the same. Because he lifts it up, because he lets go, the universe gives something back.
Wow.
Ooh, okay. Just think about the implications for the show of that statement. I'm screaming and crying.
It's amazing, it's amazing. The other thing I wrote down, well, not the only other thing, but another thing I wrote down, quite significantly less emotional, is they...
but no less important.
But not by any means less important, is they were talking over the scene of Kate and John walking through the jungle, and one of them went, "Oh, John, I admire your bald head and attractive jungle ways." And I just really enjoyed that.
That was excellent.
I admire your bald head. It's just a great sentence.
They talked about showing the one eye of Desmond for like 1 second when he's got the gun on John, which I really liked.
Yes.
They talked about how they shot that a few different ways. One where you never saw him at all until the U. One where you saw that one eye for a little bit, and then ended up going with that because it's like, I don't know, it just gives you the more hints and stuff.
Yeah,
really
they said
exciting.
I think it pushes you a little bit more towards the fact that this guy's face has been hidden is important in some way. Also because we'd already seen his eye when it opened at the beginning of the episode, and I think that, you see it again.
They love eyes on this show.
They love an eye shot.
They do.
We know they love an eye shot.
Then the only other thing that I wrote down, I don't know if you've got anything more, but really exciting to know that, and I am going to call her Claire Dunphy, Julie, I believe
Julie
the
Bowen.
actor's name is a fan of the show.
Yeah, so Julie Bowen, who plays Sarah, who also
plays Claire Dunphy
in Modern Family, which is what everyone knows her for. Yeah, she was a really big fan of Lost.
Yeah, although they were saying in the show that she's in some other, it was like, oh, it's really hard to get her because she was in I can't remember what they said now, Law and Order or ER or something, a big show in America. So maybe a lot of Americans know her for this role or whatever, but we know her as Claire Dunphy. Yeah,
she was a really big fan of Lost, and so when they gave her the script, she was like, I'll read my scenes, but I don't want to know what's happening on the island.
She didn't read it because she wanted it to be a surprise. I think that's so fun. Brilliant.
And I think that's so fun in the sense of, we kept saying, about last episode and stuff, this scene, do they even know about the island?
Yeah.
Do they know how it fits in the larger narrative? And what we found out is that obviously they do give them the entire episode, but that she intentionally went, no, I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I just think that's so fun.
Brilliant.
I love the idea of getting to be part of something you're such a huge fan of,
Oh my god, how exciting.
And, for her to then sit down and watch the premiere and find out what's been happening on the island and also see how her own scenes link into that.
That must have been so incredible.
Oh my god, so exciting.
Yeah.
So that's a great story. But the only other thing I had written down is truly a discombobulating story from, again, no idea who said it. I think it might have been Jack Bender, I'm not sure. Which is about Apparition Walt.
Oh my god, yes, I completely forgot. Guys, I was bombarded, baffled and confused. Truly, oh my god.
So
by this information.
He's whispering Obviously. And we had assumed it was just kind of like gibberish, or you couldn't make it out.
We could barely fucking hear
it. The point was that you couldn't hear what he was saying, because then like, I thought the point was you can't hear what he's saying because he's not really there.
Yeah.
And it was like maybe like he's drowning and he can't scream, or like something like that. Like, that's what I thought like the significance was. Apparently, what he's saying is, don't push the button bad. And he is saying that reversed.
Right, we should have told people to sit down before we dropped that information. Everyone hold hands. How's everyone feeling? We're feeling okay. Don't push the button bad. In reverse. What? And then he's like, and crucially also, it was for the really dedicated fans. We knew like maybe only 1,000 people would figure it out. Who the fuck's reversing the audio?
Also, crucially, it was like a last-minute decision to reverse it.
Oh yeah,
he was gonna be just saying, don't push the button bad, and then they said it was like in response to the fans being really into the details of season 1, that they went, let's intentionally put in a bunch of tiny details that only really dedicated fans are going to look at. Which is nice, but that is an insane one.
Yeah.
Because also why is he saying that?
I would consider us dedicated fans. I would never have thought to do that. I didn't know that. I didn't do that.
No.
Do you know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, I don't understand why he says don't push the button bad. Because that has insane implications. How does Walt know about the button? First of all?
Yeah, because also, like, Walt, well...
I mean, he said don't open it, didn't he, to John?
He said don't open it, don't open that thing. But also I was going to say maybe the implications of the end of this episode.
Oh, true.
There could be actually, I might rewind on how stupid I think it is.
Yeah.
Because of the end of this episode. But still, like,
but then, like, what if it's not Walt? Then what does that mean?
Yeah, if it's like a manifestation of the island, is it the island being like,
why would the island
don't go in there?
Want
why
us to not push the button?
Why Shannon? Why appear to, if you don't want them to push the button, appear to like John or Jack or Kate?
Shannon never even goes into the hatch.
Shannon doesn't know. Does she even know about the hatch? Like, it's really weird. It's really weird. And it was the way they were like, oh yeah, and then we just decided to reverse it just for fun. And I was like, what?
I'm on the floor. I'm screaming and crying. There's a lot of screaming and crying. I feel like screaming and crying could be our segue into talking about what Kate did, because I'm screaming and crying a lot in this episode. But yeah, that's crazy, guys. What do you mean? Don't push the button bad. Hey man, what the fuck?
Because I think, actually, as well, off the top of my head, I don't remember, but I think I read on the Wikipedia page that actually when he appears again, he's saying something else.
Okay.
He's saying something different. When he's in the tent. One moment. Okay, so apparently what he's saying is they're coming and they're close.
Now, what is that supposed to mean?
Abandoned.
They're coming and they're close. Anna Lucia, I guess, and the others?
Yeah, the tail section are coming.
And I guess warning Shannon about
Michael and...
is a good thing.
But how does he know about that?
Exactly. They're coming and they're close doesn't make sense as a warning to the viewers. Why would we care? Unless we don't want Shannon to die.
Well, I guess it's that, when they arrive.
What, are we supposed to be translating it mid-episode? She dies at the end of that episode.
Yeah. There's no point to it. Anyway, enough about that. Let's talk about what Kate did, actually. We've been going for half an hour. Let's talk about it.
Nice and riled up, ready to go. Look, I don't like this episode, okay?
Okay, over the course of this episode, I'm gonna find, this is my challenge to myself, is I'm gonna try and find 10 reasons why you, Ariel, should like this episode.
Bring it on.
And I'm gonna kick things off with number 1, Jin with no shirt on.
Do you want to know what my first note is? Quote, "The absolute shit show of this episode is only partially redeemed by instant shirtless Jin," unquote.
Mine says Jin getting slutted out.
Yeah.
Also, in the audio commentary, Evangeline Lilly says, I think Daniel has bigger boobs than me.
She does indeed. And I can't remember who it is, but one of the guys who... Oh, so yeah, on the audio commentary for What Kate Did, there's a guy called Paul. I didn't write their surnames for some reason. Paul, who directed the episode, and Mike, who was the director of photography. One of them said, if I was going to go that way...
Which I think is great. This is also Paul. It's his first... episode. This is the first one he directed.
And it said he's the first time directing ever. Because he's the camera op full-time for the show.
which is so fun.
This is his first time directing, and I think he did a good job.
He did a good job, and there's some great stories.
Yes, we'll get there, I think,
But we'll
when we
get to that.
scene. Okay, look, so obviously I enjoyed Objectify That Man. And obviously it's nice that, you know, Jin and Sun are reunited.
They
and
seem
stuff.
like all like happy and
There's
back together
the funny
again.
little thumbs up moment with Hurley. It's funny.
It's fun, it's cute.
And then we hard cut to Saeed digging Shannon's grave.
Less cute.
Yeah, with some weird, what is he using? Some like hollowed out bamboo?
I think, yeah,
Shovel.
they use it a couple of times in the show. I think it's like a bamboo, it's got like bits broken so you can hold it like handles, and then like a scoopy bit on the end. It's a bit like, you know, slushy straws. How they have like the little spoon on the end. I'm not helping my case. Ariel just fell back in
I'm
despair.
inspired. How can you make that comparison?
But you know what
Digging
I mean?
her grave!
Yeah, but you know what I mean, right?
The beginning of the episode I actually do like. I would say pre-title sequence, I'm on board.
Very on board.
It's after the title sequence that I'm pissed off. Which is not a good sign. I mean, it's a long pre-title sequence, I'll give him that.
This bit, what Kate did in the explicit sense, her crime, oh my god.
Is excellent.
Listeners, I am so obsessed with this woman. I love her so much. That was incredible.
And that scene is incredible.
That scene is... Everything about that scene is amazing. The fact that she's waiting outside with the lighter, when she brings him inside, the fact that he's that creepy towards her.
He's so creepy
that you
and
don't
disgusting.
know who he is, but you just hate him.
Just like, ugh.
And then the way she drives away.
On that motorcycle, it is pretty bad.
On the motorbike, like, kicks the motorbike, drives away, house explodes behind her.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Something that you might not notice if it's the first time watching as well, when he's staggering through the house drunk, he goes, "What's that smell?"
Yeah.
The gas.
The gasoline.
Mama, the gas leak. But yeah, it's really, really cool. And I think
good.
they've made a conscious effort. They've gone, we've introduced Bad Bitch and Lucia. We need to make
Kick
Kate,
it up a notch.
We need to get Kate up and
That's what
more of the
I love these Collision and what Kate did as a 2-episode run, because it's like, what if the women were just crazy insane?
Yeah.
Like, badass, take the law into their own hands. And what if they both looked hot doing it? You know?
Yeah, they do ask those crucial questions.
And the answer was, what if?
Mm-hmm. But then it's not the same as Collision. You can't put it on the same it's not on the same level as Collision.
Okay, right, but that's number 2. That's number 2 reason you should like this
That
episode.
first flashback.
This first flashback
Yeah,
sequence.
absolutely. And they talked as well in the audio commentary about how she had to learn how to open a Zippo lighter with one hand and also how to ride a motorcycle, like obviously not properly, but just enough to get out of that
She
shop.
had to ride that motorbike.
And she was like, there were these Hawaiian guys behind me pushing me on the motorbike.
Significantly less cool. Also that they had loads of lighting effects to make the house look like it was blowing up. I think they obviously like animated it in afterwards, but they also like did a bunch of lighting effects on the house. And that Evangeline Lilly and the actor who's playing Wayne were in the house when they were testing it. So they had to lay down so they weren't seen in the windows and then just get blinded over and over again by these lights getting tested, which
So
I think is
silly.
hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
What interestingly as well, we get the flashback titles and then another flashback.
I was going to say it immediately goes to the next flashback, doesn't it?
which I quite like.
Which is nice. There you go,
Stylistically.
number 3.
Okay.
Number 3.
I'm giving you too many early on.
Number 3.
Where it's going to go downhill. So, she's 24. We found that out.
I wrote that down.
She's 24. Important.
So yeah, I definitively know that she's older now, because in the beginning when Shannon is like, oh, what are you, 2 years older than me? She's definitely not 23.
She's at least... I think she's 27, right? Because doesn't the marshal say he's chasing her for 3 years?
I think so.
And we find out in this episode he's been chasing her from the start.
Yeah.
It's not like she was on the run for a bit and then he got on her case.
Which is funny because I've always gotten... No, that sounds completely insane. Sorry, I heard the sentence. I've always gotten 27 vibes from her in my head, and then I went, that's insane.
No, it's not, because I think Jack is 31.
It's that, like,
he has 31 energy,
the
and I've
whole
always
time,
said this.
if you'd asked me to, like, how old is Kate, I would have said 27. The whole time,
Really?
you know?
Interesting.
I've always gotten 27 energy from her.
I've never got a distinct age energy from her, but I don't think the sentence is insane in and of itself.
I think, like, she's got that kind of, like, she's young, but she's not young. Like, I think, like, she's not over 30
No.
to me, because it's like she's not had her Saturn's return yet, you know?
Her what?
Sorry, I was reading about it online earlier and I just thought I'd bring it up. Saturn's return. You heard about that?
No, obviously not.
It's an astrology thing. It's like, so Saturn has like its orbit takes 30 years. So your Saturn's return is when turn 30, you're supposed to have a bit of like a crisis, and supposedly it's because Saturn is back in the same place as it was when you were born. And so you're like, you've gone through a whole cycle, and then you're like, people have a bit of like a career crisis or whatever sometimes, and they like drastically change the way they are because of Saturn.
I quite like that idea.
It's quite nice, isn't it?
I'm not necessarily a big believer in astrology, but I like that.
I like it.
And we know Claire.
Claire's into it.
Claire would be charting that Saturn's return.
Yeah.
For her girl.
Exactly. So I think it's significant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so she's 27-ish. 27, 28.
And 24 in the flashbacks.
24 in the flashbacks, which is nice, I think, also because the energy you get from the scene in the diner with Kate's mum, whose name escapes me. Diane. Like, the energy you get is a little bit like teenager. Like, it's a little bit like this, like, you know...
I probably would have guessed younger than 23, actually.
This kind of, like, volatile, like, 18-year-old who's, like, set fire to her house. And maybe it's because I read too many, like, dramatic young adult novels, but to me, like, that's the kind of thing that would happen when you're, like, just graduating high school and then they'd run away and you never see them again. So, like, I quite like that she's 24, because it's like, she's had time to think about this, you know? You can't be like, oh, she was young and immature or whatever. It's like, no, she knows what she's doing.
Yeah. It's like she knows what she's doing, but she also doesn't. Like, that's what the marshal's saying, right, in the car later on. He's going, like, you definitely planned this. Like, the jury's not going to say there was no premeditation. Like, we have evidence that you planned this, but you planned it badly. It was amateur hour. Yeah, he's just trying to get under her skin. But I think it's also true because, like, you know, she knows that she wants to do this and that she needs to do this, and she has the insurance claim and everything, but she still hasn't got the lived experience of being on the run that she has later on. So her crimes later on, like when she goes to see Diane in the hospital, much more well planned.
Yeah, or with like Jason and the bank.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think it's interesting also in the timeline of the time capsule. She was 13 in that, I think they said.
Oh,
or was
we
it 15?
Figured it out, didn't we?
12.
Okay.
It says alternative casting. Sky McCall, Bartusiak, age 12, voice.
Great name.
It's a great name. So like from, that's 12, that's double the age.
Wow.
She's finally killed him. She says in that video, you know, you always want to run away, you know? She can't wait till she gets a car, and so she says, I can't wait till I turn 16 and I can get a car and get out. And it's, you know, it's not till she's 24 that she's truly escaped.
Yeah, and we now know why, because I think in the voiceover, like, he says, you always run away, and she goes, yeah, and you know why. So to me, that's saying Wayne has been a part of her life for a long time. Actually, I mean, I think that is confirmed, isn't it?
Yeah,
that maybe when she was little, her dad...
They broke up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
So she's been living with this fucking creep
since she was really young.
Yeah, almost her whole life.
Well, okay. Reason number 4 for you to like this episode, the Marshal's in it.
Okay, I do like that.
Yeah, I know you like the Marshal.
I do like the Marshal.
Looking all young, with his smooth skin and his wig.
Yeah, he's got a bad old wig on. I like the bit where he's putting the cigarette in his mouth when he's driving.
Yeah.
Just so smug. He's such an arsehole.
I hate him, you know?
I hate him,
in such
I love
a good
him.
way.
Yeah,
he's such a nightmare.
Great.
He's so brilliantly written in that he's so awful.
Yeah,
he's great.
And I like his reveal as well, when, like, you kind of get the hints, and then it's when she turns around to look at him behind her in the queue that you see his face, and you're like, oh, this is a sting.
Yeah. It's great. It's amazing. It's brilliant.
But the fucking horse.
The horse,
I'm like, give me strength.
Chekhov's horse.
Oh my god.
The horse thing, the thing is the horse thing is stupid.
Come on, Mike. Come on.
And
Let
I
me
will...
hold your hand, Mike, for emotional support.
I will concede that the horse thing is stupid. But the thing is...
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Is it... Right, okay. Either option 1, it's the same horse. Somehow on the island. Very unlikely.
Possible, though, because how did the polar bears get there?
Okay, maybe the Dharma initiative.
Maybe Echo is going to finally get his flashback episode and he's going to have lived in Antarctica and raised polar bear cubs, and those are his polar bears. You don't know.
Option 2 is it's some kind of projection, manifestation of Kate's past. So we know, Jack has seen the ghost of his dad on the island, right? And Sawyer thinks that the boar, and he's heard the voice of it all comes back around and stuff. Okay, so it's either like a ghost or some kind of projection of her past or something. If that's the case, A, how did Sawyer see it? And B, how did she touch it? Because that's not happened with either of the previous apparitions. Option 3 is it's a totally different horse that just happens to be on the island, and she's just like, oh my god, it's the horse. Why would you assume
Also
that?
possible it's a plain black horse and she's going crazy. Well, okay, crucially, Sawyer did just grab her and yell, why did you kill me?
Don't even get me fucking started on why did you kill me?
Okay, let's not go there yet. Okay, but option 4 is that it's, like, similar to what Walt was, right? Because Walt, did he grab her or something? There was like a moment of touch, I'm sure, with that.
No.
There was.
I'm sure there was.
Because I remember saying it's not like with Christian where he couldn't grab him.
No, he can speak to her and interact with her, but I don't think they physically touch at any point.
Okay.
But also, and okay, Sayid sees Walt as well.
Sayid also saw Walt.
But I thought we decided that that's because Walt has psychic powers. Does the horse have psychic powers, Velvet?
Maybe the horse is psychic. I think there's this implication, right? Okay, so across season 1, we get the apparitions, we have Christian appears, we have the whispers as an abstract concept that Sayid hears, and then again, when Sawyer specifically hears, it all comes back around. But also the boar. I mean, whether you think the boar has anything to do with anything is... I don't, personally. I think he was just projecting.
Yeah, well, it depends, doesn't it?
It depends.
That one, you can quite reasonably say he was just projecting, because we get evidence for that in the show with John's story, right?
Yeah.
About
the dog and his sister.
The dog probably wasn't a reincarnation of his sister, but it helped his mum to think that it was.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a metaphor for what is happening to Sawyer.
But I think if you... Okay, so live in this world with me.
Fucking hell. It's never a good start when you start a tangent with that.
So
let me spin you a yarn.
Let's entertain that those 3 things...
Jack's dad,
the whispers, and the specific voice of the man Sawyer killed, / the boar.
Okay.
If we lump the boar in with the voice of the ghost.
I'm happy to do that.
Let's say that those 3 things were all manifestations of the island, right?
What do you mean by that?
So, let me explain. So, like, Christian appears to Jack, and it appears to be that his role is to lead Jack to the water.
Yeah.
Right? So that could very well be the island or some kind of power of the island.
Right, okay.
Leading him to the water because the island wants them to survive.
Yep, okay.
Similarly, the whispers, this, like, madness that Rousseau has with, like, Sayid also going crazy, something like that. It could be the island in some description, right? Because we don't know who the whispers are.
Okay.
Christian recently died. This guy Sawyer killed recently died. Like, it's, he could be like a ghost. The boar could have been, like, commanded somehow by the island.
Okay.
Let's help Sawyer get over his grief. I don't know.
Okay.
But then in season 2, what we have is these 2 major apparitions so far.
We have also had the whispers in season 2.
We've heard the whispers, so the whispers have returned, and the whole group of people have heard them.
Everyone's heard them, and they seem to be really connected with the others because Cindy got snatched.
Yes. And also when Rousseau heard the whispers, she heard them saying, we're going to take the boy, and that was what Walt got taken, and she thought they meant Aaron.
Yeah.
And all of that. So the whispers appear to be connected to the others. So, and the others seem to have some kind of supernatural power.
Okay,
the good
so
of
that
the
could
island.
Be linked to the island as well.
They seem to, like, Goodwin said something about, like, you know, you're in a better place now, you're here. He thought about, like, people who were helpful to the island. It could be all a sort of central communion type thing. Mm-hmm. We have these two new apparitions from season 2, Walt and the horse.
Yeah.
Walt, I mean, as established, what he was saying is bullshit, because that was for the viewers. But
let's not take that information into account, please.
But Walt was there, and Walt was able to, like, go to Shannon. He interacted physically with the tent, because he did open the flap of the tent. I'm pretty sure.
Play the footage. I think the candle blows out, she looks at the candle, she looks back.
He blew out the candle.
Okay, fine.
And then, right, and so what his role was, we're not sure. If we entertain that the Christian was to lead Jack to the water, then I guess Walt was leading Shannon to the tail section, but I don't know why it would do that. But it seems to be bringing those groups together, at least. Maybe the island didn't anticipate that Lucy would just point and shoot. But yeah, and then we have...
Lucy at the island, are you mad at me?
Yes. And then we have the horse.
Yeah.
And the horse seems to me to be similar to, you know, Jack finding closure over Christian and Sawyer with the boar and that helping him as a manifestation of his, like, guilt and grief. And the horse as a this idea that Kate can find freedom from her past on the island. So let me finish. I know you look upset. Let me finish. I'm nearly there.
I'm foaming at the mouth.
And we're going to discuss the possession of Sawyer as part of this.
Oh my, okay. I should be making notes on what you're saying. So
but it seems like...
rebuts with.
That it seems like what this episode is that Kate is feeling chased by her past, you know? She feels like Wayne is there. Regardless of what's really happening, she feels like Wayne is possessing Sawyer, right? That much we know to be true.
Yeah.
So she... And the horse is obviously very linked with the marshal who died on the island. I'm not saying the marshal is the horse's ghost. Are you about to
say the marshal's spirit has been reincarnated in the horse?
I'm not trying to say, but I'm saying it's linked with the island.
Okay.
And this idea that Kate got away, but she hasn't really got away because she's still with, you know, Sawyer, who reminds her of Wayne, and Wayne is still there within Sawyer, or whatever that nonsense, Freudian nonsense is. And so the horse appears to Kate via the island as a way for her to find closure on what happened to her off the island and to be, like, able to accept that she can be free from her past on the island and she can get her blank slate. Boom. Brought it back around to the beginning.
I would argue... I hear what you're saying, but I would argue that Kate has already accepted that. We've seen her character development over the course of series 1. She literally says in Tabula Rasa to the marshal, in case you haven't noticed, I did get away. And yes...
But that's getting away from the marshal, not getting away from Wayne.
Okay, maybe she carries the guilt of Wayne specifically, not killing him, but just him as a presence. Maybe she does carry that with her.
Of course she does, because,
she
like,
that when she
if he's been in her life since she was a little kid and has been behaving that way towards her mum since she was a little kid, that's gonna stay with you.
Absolutely. And okay, I'm willing to say that, yes, she still carries that with her. But I'd argue it's not until she sees the horse that she starts freaking out.
Would you not freak out?
Yes, I would. But how is the horse helping her if it's causing her to freak out?
Because then she goes crazy, right? But then at the end of the episode, when she goes and connects with the horse, and then the horse runs away again, she's, like, not crazy anymore.
So what you're saying is she needed to go feral for character development reasons?
Yes.
I'd argue no. I feel like Kate is you know what I mean? She's put together but is also feral. We already know that. Like, we didn't need to have this episode where she's, like, you know, biting her nails over Shannon's grave and stuff. Like, it just feels so odd to me. And the horse pisses me off! I'm like, we never get an outright explanation of what the horse is. And...
do we ever get an outright explanation for anything, Ariel?
We do. For some things in season 6.
Okay, but they're not going to bring the horse back for season 6, are
They should have. They should have, because I'm still annoyed. And don't even get me started on the possession.
Yeah, okay, so let's talk about that, because that's complete bullshit. Because also, they brought that up in the audio commentary. They said...
it made me angry.
Do you want to speak about this, spirit in Sawyer? And, again, we've got no idea who it was who said it, because they don't... they all have the same accent, but, like, he said, I think it's best left undiscussed.
It's one of those things, best left undiscussed. I'm going to break into the studio.
Also, crucially, the follow-up to that is...
he then said
I know the answers,
yeah,
but I don't want to tell people. And I will tell you now, dear listener, that never happens again.
It's like, oh, I don't want to, yeah.
That never gets a callback.
No.
Wayne is never in the show again.
Know. He didn't know. I'm saying that right now. He doesn't know.
Wayne is never in the show again.
He's lying.
That's never part of it.
They never explain the possession. Now, my explanation of the possession is... well, there's two. There's
two ways you can explain it,
One
isn't there?
is Kate's just straight up hallucinating.
Oh, okay, that's not one of the ones I was going to go for.
Okay, I was going to say
There's 3 explanations then.
Kate is straight up hallucinating. She is
very
losing
possible.
her mind.
Very possible.
2 is Sawyer is kind of close to death at this moment because his body's in sepsis because he's been shot, whatever. And so maybe his body is on some kind of boundary, some kind of spiritual, metaphysical boundary, and therefore the angry spirit of Wayne swoops into his body and is able to because he's on some kind of threshold. Now that's not beyond the realms of possibility for this show because we have had ghosts and stuff, and so I think it's reasonable to assume that Wayne would have unfinished business and we'd still be pissed off at Kate for killing him.
Of course.
So like I can accept that. It's just that mechanic of possession of a body never comes back into the show again, ever.
I would say the third possible explanation is that Sawyer, as you said, is dying. He's, like, feverish. He's disorientated. He doesn't know where he is or who he's with. Is that he does say that, but as himself, and it's a sort of lashing out, grabbing at anyone who's near him. I'm gonna die.
Like a kind of just nonsense.
Yeah, just a sort of anger at the world. Vague nonsense. I don't think he really knows where he is until the end of this episode.
No.
You know, he doesn't know that Jack is there or that Kate is there or anything like that. So I think it could be that he just, like, lashed out, grabbed her, kind of garbled together a sentence. It came out, the sentence that came out was, "Why did you kill me?" Because he was angry at being shot, I guess. And that Kate, because Wayne, because Sawyer reminds her of Wayne, then it set her off. Because often that is, you find, it's like, the trick that psychics do where they go, someone close to you with brown hair, and you go, oh, yes, and then tell them the details.
Yes.
It could be that it happened, and then she went, oh my god, the ghost of my stepfather.
And the episode is, I will give the writing its due, in that it's quite clever, because later on we have a scene with Jack and Hurley, and Hurley talks about this thing called transference, which got brought up to him when he was in the mental hospital. Now, he's saying that in the context of some kind of, like, the love triangle, I guess, and it's like, Jack is now taking on Sawyer's role.
Yeah, he said, like, you're mad at Sawyer, so now you're doing the things Sawyer does when he's mad, because it's him you're mad at.
Yes. So that's Hurley's theory. But I think bringing up the idea of transference as a concept in this episode is clever, because it could be, A, what you're describing, Sawyer is doing some kind of behaviour and Kate is transferring her feelings and guilt and everything about that she's carrying with her about Wayne onto Sawyer's behaviour. Or it could be a paranormal transference of being, of spirit.
A literal, like
a, full Blythe spirit moment,
The thing also is that at the end of the day, Sawyer, delirious and feverish in the jungle, turning around and going, "You know that horse?" is maybe the funniest line in the entire show. Do you know that horse?
Do you know that horse? I do say that a lot.
We say that all the time.
We say that a lot.
I think maybe anytime I see a horse, I'm like, do you know that horse?
It is a good vocal stem.
It's a great phrase. It's just a great, because the concept of him like seeing it and being like, clearly there's some kind of history here.
It's just so ridiculous. It's so goofy and it's silly. It's goofy.
It's the way the horse is barely relevant to the backstory also.
The goofiness of the episode is what I can't take, because as funny as it is to clown on, it's like, but this show is so serious. And in the same episode, we have, "Do you know that horse?" and "Why did you kill me?" Like, that's a ridiculous line. Why did you kill me?
Why did you kill me? Because, like, also he knows that.
Why did you kill me? It's so... And it always makes me think of this one Trixie and Katia audio clip where she's like, "Did you kill me? I heard you killed me."
Yeah.
How do you explain the stronger accent when he becomes Wayne?
I would say he's like, when you're like tired and you sort of stumble over your words. I've got a friend. My friend Mars is half Hungarian, and sometimes when he's tired, he starts speaking in a Hungarian accent. So.
Why did you kill me?
I think that's what it is.
Yeah. And the grabbing of her arm and stuff. Oh, no, he grabs her throat, doesn't he?
I thought he did, but then in the audio description they kept calling it an arm grab.
But I think he does grab her throat in that bit because she's like choking or something.
Yeah, or like her shoulder at least or something.
Which is why it lends itself a bit more to Wayne, I think, because Sawyer would never attack Kate. He has in the past.
He did,
actually.
in fact, pin her to the ground before.
Yeah. But that was just flirting in his mind.
So Jack in this episode is interesting. Correct?
Correct.
I don't understand Jack in this sort of... I think it's a weird episode for characterization, isn't it?
Yes.
Because
it's a character-heavy episode as well. It feels like we've slowed momentum as well from the start of the season. I think that's why I don't like it as another reason I don't like this episode, because it's been so exciting and so plot heavy.
Yeah.
And then we've kind of dipped.
It's like a slowing down a little bit. But I think Jack has some weird moments this episode. Any episode where they really go for the love triangle thing, they all behave really weirdly.
Yeah, it's bad.
And it's not just in like a ew cringe way, it's in like a genuinely they get a bit out of character.
Yeah.
Jack... The chopping wood thing I don't have an issue with, because he is freaking out a bit.
I wrote down he's taking out his sexual frustration on logs.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm going to leave that there as a sentence.
Keep that in, editors.
But, he says something, I haven't written down the exact quote, but what I have written down is every woman in the world's crazy, alright Jack, don't like that.
Oh yeah!
He has like a weird, like, oh, bitches be crazy, like, moment.
Not good.
That I was like, okay, so we're all sounding like our abusive fathers now, is that what's going on?
Yeah. Not good.
Because it was really, really strange.
And like, I don't... So he reaches out to Anna Lucia at the end of the episode. That's when that line comes in.
Yeah, that's a really nice moment, at least.
But
the
is
tequila
it?
and tonic moment is fun.
I mean, I guess the callback's fun, but is it nice, though? Because it's like...
But it's not really.
I think at least what the writers are trying to suggest is the reason he's done that is because Kate kissed him. So now he's all over the shop.
I I guess. I don't completely get that.
It's squaring the love triangle.
I mean, it is squaring the love triangle. You know, like we talked about last episode, that like kind of recognition and the like eye contact at the end, and this is that kind of payoff from that.
It is
of
the
them
payoff,
having that
but
little
it's a
conversation.
shit payoff, because the framing of that shot where the two of them are stood really far apart at the end of Collision is really, really good. And then it kind of doesn't go anywhere. Like, I wanted that scene. I wanted the scene to continue.
You want more from Jack and Anna Lucia as a dynamic. You do. I agree.
And I understand what the scene is achieving. It's squaring the love triangle, but it's also, like, Jack saying you can be part of the camp, but it is gonna be hard.
Yeah.
Kind of vibes. I think he's extending an olive branch to her, but she's like, are you going to try and tell me that everybody here's not mad at me, or whatever she says?
Yeah, I mean, she's very realistic about it. She's like, don't, you know.
No, like, everyone is mad at you.
Nobody likes you. Heart emoji.
And then the scene just ends.
Yeah.
So I'm not happy.
Yeah.
The one earlier is alright, though, where she's hammering that tent peg into the sand. I wrote Alice is punching the ground.
She's angry. Yeah. And then, I mean, it's all very weird, because it's like Jack, I mean, from Jack's perspective, obviously Sawyer's dying or ill. He needs to stay with him. And then he goes, I mean, the idea of coming back to the hatch, of Kate being like, I'll look after him, don't worry. And then coming back to the hatch and she's gone and he's laying face down on the floor and the computer is about to explode is hilarious.
I do find that very funny.
Because also apparently they had like a whole stunt
Yeah.
where they like wrestled with each other and Kate had to try and get out of his grip and then run out of the hatch and then he ended up on the floor. But then they had to cut that for time, so they just walk in and he's just laying on the floor.
I really like the just walking in and there's chaos, because that's a very Kate thing to do, right?
Yeah.
Just run away, basically.
To just leave everything in disarray.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is quite funny. And so Jack reasonably is freaking out a little bit. Because you would be like, what the fuck, where is she gone? What is she doing?
Yeah.
But then the scene with Charlie, I'm not really... Why is that
Why
in
is
there?
that there?
Why
they
is
said
that
they were 14 minutes over when they taped this, and so they had to cut a lot for time. Why did they keep that scene in?
Yeah.
That scene achieves nothing. It's just a way for Jack to know where Kate is, but I would reasonably assume he could be stumbling around the jungle looking for her and just happens upon her.
Also,
that happens
like,
all the time in this show.
They could have had the scene where Charlie says to Jack, I saw her walking to the caves, without having the scene where they actually talk to each other.
What do you mean?
Well, the scene where Charlie talks to Kate in the woods.
Yeah.
You could have got rid of that.
Oh, could have got rid of that scene.
And still had Charlie saying to Jack, she's in there, in the jungle.
Yeah, you could have.
And that's a much shorter scene, you know, or just had a couple of lines of dialogue with him being like, oh, you're looking for Kate? Oh, I saw her over there. And everyone would have been like, okay, Charlie just saw her. No one's going to be like, but we didn't see that happen, so what if Charlie's lying?
Yeah, I don't know where we have that scene either. I guess it's to try and give us this gradual
deterioration of Kate.
And the fact that she tells people as well that she saw the horse. I guess
that's quite interesting, I do think. It's very similar to sort of Shannon going back to the caves and immediately being like, I saw Walt Waltz out there. We need to help him. Women communicate. Men don't. That's the message of the episode.
Men will get possessed by the ghost of your stepfather before they text you back.
Before they're emotionally vulnerable. Yeah. So I don't understand Charlie's point in this episode. No. Not even in like he's like, it just cut him. Just like get rid. He doesn't need to be there.
You can take the day off, Dom, actually.
Yeah, you can just go chill out in your hotel.
His gash is healing, though. That's fun.
That is fun. Could have been Claire. Would have been better if it was Claire.
Yeah, where was my girl?
Claire, Kate, going crazy moments. They need that together.
They do need that.
The Jack, Kate, like, kissing scene, I do actually like that scene.
Do you? I think it's a bit weird, the scene. Just, like, the lead up to it, I mean. Like, okay, Jack's reasonably angry with her, and then she says, like, I'm sorry I'm not as perfect, I'm sorry I'm not as good.
And he's like, what are you talking about?
And I'm kind of like, what are you talking about? So like, all of this with the horse is like her trying to wrestle with the fact that she's committed crimes.
I guess. Well, it's like when she talks to Sawyer, Wayne Sawyer.
Yeah.
She says like she says like I would never have anything good I have written down.
Okay, so is it kind of like she thinks she doesn't deserve Jack?
I think that's what it's going for. I think it's trying to be like Jack is like good and perfect in her head. She's like, he's the perfect savior, he's helping everyone, and she is not a good person and she's a criminal, but like whenever she like Sawyer is someone she like quote unquote deserves, but he reminds her of her, you know, abusive stepfather, which is very weird. And that then she's like, I'm never gonna have anything good, brackets, I'm never gonna have Jack because I'm not good enough for him.
Yes.
And Jack's like, la la la, pretty girl. She's like experiencing emotional turmoil, and he's like, Kate, kiss me.
Yes, and also, like, I mean, I guess Kate doesn't know as much about Jack as we, the audience, do, because we see all of his flashbacks and stuff. But it's like, first of all, he's far from perfect. Second of all, he doesn't deserve you. Like,
he's also so unbelievably fucked up in every way. But I think also because she's in this weird state.
Yes.
She's like, and it's like also he comes into that conversation being like, you fucked up. So then she's like, okay, well, I'm sorry, we can't all be Mr. Perfect Great Doctor.
Yeah. Okay, fine. But, like, I feel like the dialogue is a bit stilted.
It is a little bit weird.
The dialogue's a bit stilted, and I don't like when he grabs her. I don't like that, because they talk about the arm grabbing a lot in the audio commentary, kind of as a jokey thing, but also as like it's a thematic thing, like her arms get grabbed a lot in this episode. But first by Wayne, second by Sawyer, possessed by Wayne, trying to kill her, or something. And then it's Jack.
I think the difference is supposed to be that, like, the first two are grabbing her in a very sort of violent, possessive way, and then this one is, like, an attempt at comfort.
But I don't like that it begins... Like, the hug is nice when she's crying and she's like, I'm going crazy. That's nice, and he's, like, comforting her. But it's when he, like, grabs her and she tries to run away and he puts his other arm around her, like, to stop her from leaving. I feel like it's coded in that kind of possessive way, and I don't like that.
It is a little bit, and it is a bit dodgy, but I think it is different to the first two. Also, I think the hilarity of, like, kissing someone and then stepping back and sprinting at full speed away.
That is good.
Brilliant.
That is funny.
Brilliant. Because, like, that is so funny in, like, so many ways. Because it's, like, also, you expect as a viewer that the love triangle is just going to be dragged out forever and nothing's ever going to come from it. And then it's like, oh, we got a kiss. Maybe it'll go somewhere now. Spoiler alert, it kind of doesn't. But then it being like, he's like, oh, okay, we're doing this now. And she's like, never mind, turns around, genuinely sprints full speed away from the situation. Just like classic Kate, first of all, because like, she does just run away from literally everything. She's like, you know what, I can't deal with this right now. She realizes she's sort of opened a box and she's like, okay, never mind. Forget that this happened. I'm gonna run away.
But then I guess she's falling into that thing that she's worried about, right? Where she's basically using him.
Yeah. And that she runs away from anything.
Yeah.
Anything nice as well as from anything bad. It's like with Tom, like the kind of situation of that she had. I guess it's also that Tom was good and perfect and she got him killed.
Yeah.
And that her perception of him is very much like he had everything and he had the perfect life and then she came in and ruined it. So I guess that's a bit of a parallel also.
Yes.
So Kate's other father.
Yeah.
Let's discuss him.
Yeah, how do we describe him?
What's his name?
Sam.
Sam is in the army.
Mm-hmm.
But he seems largely to be a nice guy. Ish.
well, nicer than Wayne, but that's not much competition.
Nope.
But yeah, he seems nice. They seem to be... I mean, we know when she says, my dad took me hunting, I'm assuming it's Sam she's talking about.
So Sam seems to be the one who taught her to, like, hunt and track and stuff.
So
classic military dad bonding behaviour. Let's go out and hunt.
I can see the picture right now of, like, Kate in, like, all camos with a baseball cap on, like...
Yeah.
Yeah. So it seems that for a long time Kate thought that Sam was her biological father.
Yeah.
They then split up and Diane got with Wayne. But turns out Wayne is her biological father.
Yes.
And
Sam is question mark. Yeah. And the way she found that out was because she was making a scrapbook for Sam's birthday.
Yeah.
How sad is that?
I mean, that is sad.
And then she found, it's awful. But that I think that's really interesting that that's what pushed her to, like, now I have to kill him.
Yes, I do find that interesting. However, I think there is an inconsistency. Because when the marshal is talking to her in the car, he goes, why now? Right? We then find out why now, like, because of the thing. But he's like, you know, oh, you're a good student, you get straight A's, you got no criminal record apart from a few parking tickets. But then Sam, when she's talking to Sam, and she goes, why didn't you tell me he was my real dad? He says, because I knew you would kill him. Why does he think that his daughter would immediately go to murder when she's supposedly a nice girl, great straight A student, really good, no criminal record?
I think it's that, like, her kind of what she projects versus who she is. Like, this, I mean, you gotta think, like, Sam, if Sam's taught her to hunt, he's presumably seen her kill things. You know, we know from the tape recording that she's wanted to run away from him for a really long time. She's probably said she wants to kill him, you know, she's probably, like, called Sam up and been like, this guy fucking sucks, I want him dead, in, like, an abstract way, and he's obviously believed her, but then, like, on her kind of projected self, she's very good, and she's, you know...
So, like, on paper?
On paper, she's, like, smart, and she's never done anything wrong, and she's, like, all of that. And she's you know, good. But realistically, she'd never have anything good, because he's a part of her.
Hey, I mean, you were talking about how this season's the mummy issues season.
Here we go.
Her mum gave her up. But this is also the scene which we discovered in the audio commentary. This is the first scene they shot of the episode. So this was the first scene that Paul had ever directed. And apparently, like, right as she was, like, leaving to exit the door or something, he shouted the direction
from across the room, from behind the monitor, yelled at her,
"More vulnerable!"
More vulnerable.
So then it ended up being a bit of a joke, I think, an inside joke between them all.
Every time they filmed a scene, he'd be like, more vulnerable.
More vulnerable.
And he said, like, yeah, looking back, maybe he probably should have, like, pulled her aside and given to her direct off, so he just was like, this direction needs to be given. I'm just going to yell it across the room.
More vulnerable.
And you know what? I think that's a good way to... I'm like, good. Real. Because, like, I think too many directors, in my experience at least, as, like, a performer, directors will try and be like, and now I think you should think about the motivation of your character, right? Because, like, you're in this scene with your father, and this is, like, you know, you're finding out that he's not your biological father, and I wonder if maybe there would be a bit more emotion there. But, you know, what do you think you should be showing? And I'm like, don't do that. Because clearly what you want is more vulnerable.
Yeah.
Just say more vulnerable. Like, I think, just, like, be direct. And just be like, this is, like, I want the scene to be more vulnerable.
It's in your job title.
Exactly. Be direct. You're the direct. Or, I would much rather have more... I mean, maybe not yelled at me from across the room, but I would much rather be given the direction more vulnerable than some kind of long, wordy thing.
Yeah.
About, like... the motivations of the character or whatever.
Your motivation is more vulnerable.
Yeah. Your motivation is you're vulnerable. So the horse was completely untrained.
They used an untrained horse.
They used an
And
untrained
I think
horse.
that is obvious, because even before I knew that, I noticed that final scene where Kate actually goes over and touches the horse, she's clearly got some food in her hand. You notice this? Because the horse immediately goes face first into the hand
right into
that's
her
away
hand.
from the camera, and then she's like stroking its head, and I'm like, bro's just having a snack.
She's clearly feeding the horse.
So obviously feeding the horse.
And the horse also, like, there's no body language from the horse.
No. What's the horse's motivation?
Your motivation is you're a horse.
Shout more vulnerable at the horse.
Like, I think in the scene with the marshal in the car, where the horse is just standing in the middle of the road, there's like, why is it there?
When it runs across the road, it's very clearly CGI'd. And the horse walking off at the end of that interaction was not scripted.
It just went.
It just walked off.
And they were like, okay.
Let's just go with it, I
maybe,
guess.
Maybe if they had a trained horse, it would have made a bit more sense that the horse was there.
Because
they would have been able to get the horse to do
Don't try and blame the
things.
horse for this shit show
Well, they
of an
could have maybe got the
episode.
horse to do a trick or something.
This toilet concoction of a plot.
Could have got it to, like, rear up or something, you know?
The horse starts speaking backwards.
Yeah. Maybe there's
Starts neighing backwards.
I was just thinking about the horse. There's a horse. This is such a long tangent.
Oh my
There's
God.
a horse. There's a TV series, right? It's a kids' TV show called Free Rein. Rein spelled R-E-I-N. That's about horses on like a mysterious horse island in England. It's not great. I watched it because it had an actor I liked in, and I was like, it's funny that he's in a children's TV series. Let's watch it. And the main character is obviously a human, but the main horse character is this black horse that looks a lot like that horse.
Right.
It's called Raven, and it's the whole like he's a wild horse, and then she tames him
Yeah.
because she, with her sweet American ways. I don't know. She's like American. She's come to the UK for the summer, and she tames this horse. But I was like, I had the thought they should have got that horse, and then I just had a vision of trying to put a horse in a plane. And how hilariously that would go.
Well,
Do they fly horses?
I think they do for like the Olympics.
Yeah, because you have to have your horse.
Well, you would want
for like
your
dressage,
horse, wouldn't you? Yeah. So I feel like they must get horses to other countries somehow. Maybe not on a plane, maybe on a boat.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
I
how they did it in the
feel
olden
like-
days, right? Like when they were invading, they would bring
Yeah.
horses on a boat.
I feel like taking off on a plane with a horse in. Horse, notoriously, their main emotion is fear. It feels like it wouldn't go well.
It's very exciting. We have a horse on the plane today. Cindy in the video game.
Cindy, we have a horse.
We have a horse on the plane today.
Flight attendant, do you know that horse?
Oh, this episode.
So yeah, but the other thing is that Wayne, apparently there's these adverts. So this is the other main thing I learned from the audio commentary. There's apparently these adverts in America that are like, come to Texas, it's great. I assume it's like a holiday, advertising it as a
board or
holiday
something.
resort or something, like a
Yeah.
tourism, go to
We
Texas.
get Visit Ireland, don't we?
Yeah.
That's a thing.
Go to Texas, and the guy who played Wayne was the voice of those adverts. He's the voice of Come to Texas.
Why did you kill
Why
me?
did you kill me?
Come to Texas.
So yeah,
Yeah, man. Okay.
now that that's all out of the way, I'm gonna give you some other reasons you should like this episode. Number 5. Michael back in his engineer era.
Okay, yes.
I
do
greatly
like that.
enjoy this.
I wrote
Michael
down-
comes into the hatch, he goes, well, hey, what's with the blast doors?
No one else has noticed the blast doors.
Brilliant.
Iconic.
Brilliant.
I do really like that, and I also wrote down, can I check out the hardware? And I wrote, okay, tech boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Check out the hardware.
Yeah.
He like goes down the tunnel. He's like checking things out. So they have these blast doors to come down in case of an explosion. I would assume from the implication of blast. But also an emergency, like a quarantine. I mean, they're like fire doors, aren't they? You know, like when fire shutters come down and stuff.
I think they're a bit more heavy duty than that, but yes.
So
the same principle to protect you.
So what's the implications of that, hatch-wise?
Very interesting.
They seem to be only on the computer room, right?
Yes. But it's also like, so there was this incident. Is it in case there's another incident?
Yeah.
Or something, you know, like, but also Desmond's been down in that hatch for 3 years. And he was like, I don't know if the rest of the world is out there. He clearly hasn't left, quarantine, all of this stuff. What situation would the blast doors come down in?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I feel like it's already pretty dire. It's already pretty extreme.
The situation's pretty severe.
When are we getting blast doors?
So clearly something is going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I love that, like, Michael being an engineer, it's like it's a little detail of his character. Because it's like, he's not an engineer, he was an artist who took engineering work to make ends meet. But then him being an engineer comes in handy so many times.
Yeah.
He built the showers, he built the raft, he knows about the blast doors, he built the stretcher, you know?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Oh, Michael's
I
great.
do really like Michael, and I think it's nice that he's back at the camp now.
He seems to have slotted back in incredibly smoothly with everyone. So, okay.
The rest of this plot line, though, with John and Echo, don't piss me off.
Really? Really?
Well, parts of it I like.
You don't like Echo's story about the book?
I like his story.
Reason number 6 to like this episode.
That scene.
They found a book. I would like to begin at the beginning.
Long before Christ!
Before Christ! It's John's face, he's like...
He really did mean the beginning. That's iconic.
Brilliant scene.
That's a really good scene, and they talked about that in the audio commentary in a really nice way as well, saying you don't often get long scenes of dialogue in a TV show, and it was the first time we'd used that table, so they were really happy about the shot of that table, and how there was no music and everything, and I think, yeah, it does
so
really work.
brilliant.
You get that effect.
It's so quiet. Echo, once again, gravitas. He commands
to the max.
He commands that, and you're so invested.
Gravamax. And it's shot really nicely with the shadows coming through the slots, the slats of the blind.
I love that idea that, like, the light is on, like, all the time, and you can close the blinds against the light, and it's like you're underground. The way they've kind of pretended, it's, like, real. Oh, it's
quite dark, but very
really
cool.
sinister.
And I really, really like the shots of John unfurling the tape. And he holds it like this, and his other eye has the scar on it. He kind of holds it over this eye, and it looks really, really cool.
Really cool.
Really cool.
I think also the significance of the story, I'm not too sure about, but I think it's really brilliant that, like, they watched the film, and Echo didn't just go, oh, I've got the rest of the film. He went, I'm gonna tell you a story. We'll use the money to build the temple, but then they found the Bible, the Old Testament, and they were like, we're going to use this instead. We're going to rebuild the temple with faith.
Yes.
And so I guess his idea being, you need to have faith in this, rather than trying to figure it out. We need to have faith that it will be revealed to us in time. But also the book, we saw the book.
Yes.
In the other 48 days. We saw him pick up the book and open it. And then...
So... And obviously
Bible,
we were like,
then...
oh, he wants it because it's the Bible and he's a religious man. And I do think that is true still. But I think it's like he also was keeping this secret from the rest of the group.
Yeah, I don't think he told the others, hey, I found film in the Bible. Because at that point he wasn't talking also, was he? So he wouldn't be like... Film.
Yeah. It was also insane. Like, how the hell did that film get there?
Yeah.
You know?
So this means someone has cut up the orientation film and glued it back together and then hidden the pieces inside a Bible in the Arrow, which is like way across the island, like 2 days journey.
So it's like how it couldn't have been Kelvin or Desmond because they weren't leaving the hatch, really, were they?
As far as we're aware, they were.
As far as we're aware. So how would they have gotten all the way over there?
So is it whoever was there before them?
Is it the guy who made the tape and then later on he was like, wait, hang on a minute. Look, okay, I'm going to talk about this plotline now. The reason this plotline pisses me off is because it is so cool in the lead up. This scene where they're watching the tape and then it does the long zoom in on Echo, you're like, oh my gosh. This scene Brilliant. Excellent.
Yeah.
They're going, oh, it's the Bible. Oh my god, wow. Oh, we've got the bit from the film that was lost. Oh my god, oh my god. And then the next scene when they're sticking it together, I really like that
Really
scene
cool.
too. And I wrote down as well, it's a metaphor for the plane breaking apart.
Oh,
You know?
yeah.
Because they're talking about how
They're
you
bringing
were
the
on
two
that
pieces
island,
together.
You were on this side of the island. We've brought them together. We're sticking them back together. We're reuniting as a group. I thought, wonderful, excellent. What pisses me off is the section of the film that we
Means
finally
nothing.
found after going through all of that effort and all of this mysticism reveals absolutely nothing.
No, it really truly reveals nothing.
It's just what? It's like 2 sentences, and it's sentences we already knew.
So it's like, why was it removed?
Don't attempt to use the computer for anything else. Up until this point, we didn't think we could use the computer for anything else anyway. So I was like, so what's the point of all that?
But then I guess what it is that it's that Michael doesn't see that video, right? It's just
Yeah.
Echo and John. Michael watched it with them the first time, and then he fucks off to look at the blast doors. So he doesn't hear, do not attempt to use the computer for anything else, this could be dangerous. So then when he sees the message saying hello on the computer, he responds to it
Yeah.
because he hasn't been told it's dangerous to use the computer for anything else, which leads him to that end scene.
But it's just so...
It is frustrating. I agree with you that it's
So
frustrating. I'm
frustrating,
just
'cause
trying to sort of play devil's advocate here.
Yeah, the hat, the Mike Wazowski on my shoulder. The devil on my shoulder.
Oh,
The
yes.
Mike Wazowski on my shoulder. The hatch is so mystical and intriguing, and we know nothing about it, and we know nothing about the computer and the numbers and all of this. And then when we get more information, it just tells. It's like, go girl, give us nothing.
It is. You really want it to be something else. And, like, I guess it succeeds in dragging out the mystery a little bit, but it would have been
Pisses me off.
better if they'd never found the rest of the film. That scene with Echo and John is, like, one of my favourite Echo scenes
It's great.
of all time. Because it's, like, also what I love is that John is, like, the mystical one. John is the one saying, trust in the island gives us what we need, etc. And at this point, he's losing his faith a little bit, but he's still like, we made it into the hatch, you know. He kind of had his crisis of faith when they couldn't open the hatch, and then he's got in, and now he's like, this is it.
Yeah, it has
And
to
that,
be
like,
Jack, that whole bit.
Echo comes in with this story, and John's face is brilliant when he's listening to that story. But also, to me, what it's saying is, like, I need to step up my game.
There's a new sheriff in town.
He's like, oh god, I need to be way weirder than this guy. Like, he's so mysterious in a way I could never be.
Yeah, he's been outwitted, for sure.
He was described in the audio commentary, they said Echo was the anti-Locke. Or Locke is the anti-Echo.
Yeah.
I disagree with that completely.
Yeah.
Because they're very similar characters.
Yes. I love how we both heard that and went,
No.
Just the film thing is one of the things that I really held on to resentment-wise throughout the whole
I
show.
can't believe what I'm learning over the course of recording this podcast is there's so many little details that you are so, like, caught up on, and that I largely just kind of let it wash over me. I'm like, yippee Jack.
You're like, la la
La la la, pretty girl. I'm watching this episode being like, yippee, Kate on the motorbike, and you're like, the video.
What are the implications of the possession? I need to know. Yeah, that's generally my approach to the show. Our approach is...
I think it's because I keep coming up with these bullshit explanations for all the things. I'll just be like, yeah, well.
It was just such wasted potential to me.
It really was. No, it definitely was. Like, that, when you find out that something's been taken out of the film,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, we're never going to know what the film really said. And then it's like, oh my god, we're finally going to get to find out what it really said. And then it's like, and it, you know, changed nothing about the story.
Nothing. So I wrote down what he said. He said, it's strictly forbidden to contact the outside world with the computer. The isolation that you experience in the Swan might tempt you to do so, but don't, because it could trigger another incident. Okay.
Okay, now I'm interested by the phrasing of contact the outside world.
Me too.
Because that could mean the rest of the Dharma Initiative, it could mean the Arrow or whatever, or if there's other stations, but it could mean the computer has the potential to contact the regular world
Yeah.
and get to, like, America.
Yes. But also, if you... So they were only meant to be in the hatch for however many days, right?
I think, like, 450 or something.
A couple hundred days. So would they want to contact America? Or would they only be interested in contacting him or the Dharma Initiative?
According to the Lostpedia page for the Swan, the operators would be staying in the station for 540 days.
Wow.
And 540 is hyperlinked to 108 for some reason. Oh, because it's 108 times 5.
Oh, that's fun. That's
the number of days until your replacement would arrive at the hatch.
It's a hell of a long time.
It's a long time, so you would want to contact the outside world,
I guess you would, yeah.
You'd want to know about, like, big news events, and, like, who's the president, and, like, speak to your family.
You know, like in all the sci-fi movies, where they, like, find the video, and it's like, hey, Beth, I'm gonna be away for a while, I'm going on the mission to Mars, but I love you, and it's like, he's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I guess this is the thing, I think maybe what the missing film was supposed to imply is the computer can contact the outside world in the sense of, like, home, but we just kind of didn't care / pick up on
I found it so silly because I was like, when everything that we've seen about the computer so far tells us it can't be used for anything other than inputting the numbers. You can't even press anything before the timer starts counting down.
But then at the end of this episode, we learn that you can.
We learn that we can. So I'm like, that's exciting. Could have had that without the thing of the film, first of all. Could have just had that revelation without. And second of all, what do you mean? Like, how is it suddenly able to do that?
Well, I guess Michael was checking out the hardware, wasn't he? They've been very cautious.
Oh, you think he's flicked a switch or something?
I think so. I think because they were obviously very cautious about the computer because it got broken.
Yeah.
And then Saeed had to fix it. And then they were like, okay, well, nobody touch it. Apart from to put in the numbers because we don't want to break it again because it, something could happen. And because the way Desmond was like, you're all gonna die. So, but Michael, because he didn't experience any of that, has obviously just gone in and messed around with it. And I think he's probably found, like, a settings or something.
Okay, I'd accept that. That makes
because they've just left him alone in that computer room for the whole time they were doing this dramatic conversation and, like, all of that.
He's somehow enabled communication.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure, what number are we on the list?
Reason number 7.
Definitely.
The final scene.
The final scene of this episode I absolutely love. And I'm kind of pissed off it's in this episode, to be honest.
I was like, oh my god, that's this episode?
Yeah.
First of all, that it's this early on.
I thought it was much later.
I thought it was, like, episode 15. But also that it's, like, the way... Oh my god.
It's so good, this scene. And we have been talking about Harold Perrineau's superior acting skill as a phrase throughout this whole show. This scene is the reason we came up with that phrase.
Yeah.
Because we
needed some way to describe his face in this scene. It's the way there's no dialogue, but you get so much emotion.
That sort of subtle change in his face at the very end, just the expression that he makes, gave me chills.
Yeah, because it's the way, like, at the beginning, he's like, smiling, and he's kind of like...
He's like, oh, this is Michael. Who is this? He's just like, well,
he's like,
let's see what happens.
Like, I would assume I was speaking to, like, a bot,
Yeah.
And, like, a sort of,
and
chatting
also,
with a computer.
Yeah, well, I remember first watching this being like, well, how are they going to know who Michael is,
Yeah. He's just introducing himself.
I did not expect. It absolutely pulled the rug out from underneath me, and it's so... heart-wrenching and dramatic and exciting. Dad? Oh my gosh!
So the implications of this are crazy.
Yeah.
Because the implication of this is that Walt is on a computer, first of all.
Somehow, Walt's found a computer.
He's on a computer. So is he in another Dharma station? Is the Dharma Initiative also the others?
This points towards that, doesn't it?
But then why have they not gotten them out of the hatch? It was Desmond and other? What's...
But they just left him down there,
But they just left him down there? Like...
Unless he was lying. I mean, of course, he could have been lying.
He could have been lying.
We know that he met Jack at that point in the past, but that's all we've actually seen.
Everything else he told us could have been completely untrue. We, yeah. So many implications.
Could it be, so we know that Walt has been astral projecting. Well, we don't know that Walt has been astral projecting, but let's say Walt has been astral projecting. We can say, maybe you actually can't use the computer for anything else, and this is all some kind of illusion.
Yeah.
This is Walt's mind powers projecting those words onto the screen.
Yeah, or like maybe Michael's hallucinating.
Could be. Maybe it's Wayne. Wayne got into the computer after his spirit left Sawyer's body. It just comes up, this is Michael. Who is this? Why did you kill me?
The computer starts shaking. Yeah, so Walt is on, but also I like the idea that like Walt and Michael both know how to hack the computers.
Yeah, I'm in.
I'm in.
Father, like son.
This is his all that time on his little Game Boy thing.
Yeah.
It's taught him. He knows how to code.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, oh gosh, and you just kind of go, oh my god, they're gonna find him.
And like also we talked about the idea that like with like Christian and the guy that Sawyer killed and all of that the people who've appeared on the island appear to be ghosts, that like maybe the implication of Walt appearing to Shannon is that he died, but now it's like he's definitely alive because he's on the computer.
Yeah, it would seem I don't think there's any kind of explanation that it could be Ghost in the hardware.
Ghost in the machine.
I literally just said that with Wayne a second ago. So maybe there is implication.
I don't think he's a ghost haunting the computer.
No.
I don't think that's really.
I think we can safely say Walt is alive. And he's
Walt's alive. And he's
with
communicating.
Michael.
And he's
somehow. I mean, we don't know how, but
hopefully be able to tell Michael where he is and how to save him.
I mean, yeah, so Walt's not off the island, right? He got taken by the others. There's no way they would have shipped him off island.
Presumably no, because they don't want anyone. They want to take people to use, right? They want to, like, from what Goodwin said, it seems like they want to bring people into their, like, community on the island. Yes. So I don't know why they would take, because if they want him because he's like a magical child.
Yeah.
So
to me that suggests the computer maybe doesn't have the ability to contact the outside world, or not only has the ability to contact the outside world, but it implies that there are other computers on the island and they can talk to each other.
Yeah. Between these other stations. There wasn't a computer in the Arrow, but there was electricity because they turned on the lights.
They turned the lights on, yes.
So
and we know that there are more stations because it's 3 of 6. This one is 3 of 6.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing Walt is in another station and he's found a computer and he's been able to somehow coincidentally type hello exactly as Michael's about to walk past and has turned the computer. Like, it's all very convenient.
Because he's psychic.
He is psychic, I suppose. But it is all very convenient. And I guess, yeah, the section of the film alerts us to the fact that what Michael is doing could cause another incident.
Yeah.
Obviously bad.
But also that, like, this, like, quarantine thing that a lot of the characters appear to believe is, like, fear-mongering. Like, maybe the only reason they don't want them to communicate outside is because they don't want them to want to leave.
Exactly.
You know, Michael obviously is immediately going to want to leave to wherever Walt is. So, like, if he was the only person in the hatch, he would just be leaving it to explode.
Yeah. So perhaps just simply the act of communicating on the computer doesn't compromise the thing. Well, it depends if you think it's real, right? If the button's not real, then there is
hinges
no
on whether the
incident.
button is real.
There is nothing to corrupt, you know? The only thing would be it's destroying the experiment because you're escaping and you're not sat there pushing the button.
Yeah.
If it's a psychological experiment or whatever.
Yeah, Evangeline Lilly was saying in the audio commentary that she, at this point in filming at least, she felt quite convinced that they'd all been brought to the island as some kind of social experiment.
Yeah, I liked that idea, kind of widening it from not only is the hatch an experiment, but the whole island is some kind of experiment. You know, Lord of the Flies situation, they're being observed about what happens when you put all these people on an island. That's fun.
Human zoo. That would have been, I think if I'd been watching it, like, that was a sort of semi-theory of mine for a time. I was like, it's a human zoo situation. But then it gets to a certain, you get into sort of like season 3 and you're like, it's not a human zoo. But like at this point in time, it could have been.
I feel like human zoo is more likely or was more on my radar than Purgatory.
Yeah, definitely. I find Human Zoo much more feasible than they're dead the whole time. So this is a point against liking this episode, I think. Jin gets his handcuff off.
Why would I not like that?
Because you like the handcuff.
I do like the handcuff bracelet.
I thought you would be upset that it's been removed.
But I like the scene where he gets it removed.
Okay, point number 8 to like this episode. Scene where Jin gets his handcuff removed.
Yeah, because it's really momentous. And it's like, okay, I love the bracelet and the way it always looks. But it's like, he's finally able to get it off after so long.
Yeah.
And, John says, free at last, huh? And obviously that's interesting when we're talking about freedom. Kate's talking about, is she free in this episode? Is Jin free? Is he free from his marital problems? Him and Sun seem to be reconciled, is he now, he's not that possessive man who attacked Michael and got the handcuff
friends,
put on.
They're they've reconciled also.
Yes, I love the little bro moment between them. It's like, oh, handcuff's gone. Yeah, remember those days?
The good old days when I tried to drown you in the ocean, remember that?
Sorry, I realised I wrote down, I would like to see it too, and then drew a stick man just standing in an A pose. That was Echo when
I would like to
see the film. I would like to see it too.
I mean, what an episode from Echo's perspective, right?
Yeah.
Crazy. Anyway. Okay, so...
You gotta find 2 more points.
I do have to find 2 more points. I would like to talk about Shannon's funeral.
Oh yes, we've not talked about that.
Because something I really liked is that Saeed,
the funeral.
The funeral.
It doesn't work as well as
Shannoneral.
Shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
I like that.
The shenanigans.
The shenanigans.
Saeed drapes her necklace over the cross, and I liked that as a callback to Boone's necklace being over his cross.
Me too, and there was a shot where you could actually see both the necklaces on both the graves, and I was like, oh, they've been buried next to each other,
It's quite nice.
The necklaces.
Saeed, much smoother funeral speech this time.
I didn't know
Boone very well.
Yes.
Much smoother.
Yes. Although once again, I kind of didn't believe it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I really liked the start of his speech where he was like, we never would have met if...
Yeah.
And then he kind of cut himself off. I was like, oh, that's being delivered really well. But it's just whenever he says he loves her, I'm like, but do you though?
Reason number 9. Rose's husband's white. Didn't see that coming.
That's an excellent line.
That's a brilliant line. I love that. It's a classic genre where Hurley moment where it's like, I don't know about you guys, but personally that's what I was thinking.
Me too. And it's like, none of us would say
You're not going to say it.
Kind of thinking it, and the fact that Hurley says it is really fun because he is just a voice of the audience.
Yeah. And that also he goes into that scene with such a casual, so... He's like, I'm going to attempt to start a casual conversation with you, but clearly you're going through something.
Yeah.
And I love that.
I think this might have been when we were watching it the first time where we actually came up with the phrase genre-aware Hurley as well.
Yeah, I think this was when we were like, oh, he's the voice of the audience.
So actually a lot of ongoing bits and jokes have come from this episode. Genre-aware Hurley, Harold Perrineau's superior acting skill, do you know that horse, and why did you kill me?
Yeah. And I'm going to hit you with what I think should be number 10.
Okay.
For reasons you should enjoy this episode. And that is when Echo and John are fixing the tape. And John says something along the lines of, what are the odds? And we get hit with maybe one of my favourite Echo lines. And also very significant in terms of the overarching story. Do not mistake coincidence for fate.
Yes. That is a reason to like this episode, because it's one of the iconic... It's on par with Live Together, Die Alone.
It's a very iconic line.
It's a very iconic line.
We're not the only people on this island, and we all know it!
Run.
They've attacked us, kidnapped us, murdered us!
You have 3 options.
Run, hide, or die.
Yeah.
It's not called back in the same way, but it is up there.
And it's so relevant for the whole show. There have been many times, actually, recording this podcast where I've nearly said, don't mistake coincidence for fate.
Yeah.
And I've been like, oh no, it's not happened yet.
No, I really nearly did last episode when we were talking about Jack and Anna Lucia, like, meeting in the airport and then them being the leaders. And it's like, was it just coincidence that they had that little bonding moment in the airport when they were both the leaders and they have all these parallels as characters?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
So it is a reason to like this episode that we finally get the words, don't mistake coincidence for fate. Like when we finally got the words man of science, man of faith, and all of these things.
Yeah.
However, it does feel a bit rogue to happen when it does. I don't know. It's kind of giving, when John says to Shannon, we all get a new life on this island, and it's like, oh, that's the context.
Yeah. I do agree with you on that. In the sense of you're a bit like, oh, that's when that happens.
Yeah.
But I think it is a good moment because I think it's another thing of those, like, John and Echo as the, like, mysterious characters. That, like, Echo clearly is a level above John in that, like, he's the one going, no, it's fate. And John's like, oh, yeah, of course. I'm the mystical guy. I'm supposed to say it's fate. That I always like when that dynamic is kind of shifted. You know?
Yeah.
Depending on who the person's talking to. Like whenever, like at the beginning of the season with John and Jack, it's like John is all, this is fate, this is our destiny.
It has to be you, Jack.
It has to be you, Jack. And then it's like, he's suddenly out of his depth next to this guy who's like so much more mystical and weird than him. And then he's the one going, like, man, what are the odds?
Yeah. But also interesting.
He's an ordinary guy, meat and potatoes.
He is meat and potatoes. It's interesting that Echo's the one who says don't mistake coincidence for fate, because he's been telling us this whole story about the Bible and how
having
like,
faith and
finding the book and
things are going to be okay.
And so I'm like, so he believes it's coincidence?
No, he believes it's fate.
But he's saying don't mistake coincidence for fate. Don't believe it's fate.
No, he's saying he's mistaking that it's coincidence because he says, "What are the odds?" That's like a.
No, I think he's saying to John, I don't mistake coincidence for fate as a phrase. Surely means something is coincidence and you are mistaking it for fate.
No, I think he means the opposite.
Well, how would it mean the opposite linguistically?
I mean, linguistically speaking, maybe not, but. Because, like, obviously the first thing will come first, but when you look at it in the context of the scene, he's saying, John is trying to say, like, how crazy is it that you found the tape and the tape that we needed? Isn't that wild? And Echo is saying, no, I was supposed to, and I was meant to come and find you.
Okay, with that being your interpretation of the conversation, it makes a lot more sense that he says don't mistake coincidence for fate then.
Yeah.
To me, I was just always like, oh, it feels like he's 180'd.
No, he's not saying it's coincidence. Because the story is him saying that he sent them to the treasury and it was fate that the book was in there. The Old Testament was in the treasury and then they used their faith and we have to have faith that everything's laid out for us.
But then why does he say don't mistake coincidence for fate?
Because he's mistaking a situation that he's mistaking it as coincidence when it is fate.
Well, then you should say don't mistake fate for coincidence.
But even then it still reads... I think it's just the word coincidence is something that you focus on in the sentence.
Don't mistake coincidence for fate. Don't mistake...
He's mistaking coincidence.
So coincidence is wrong.
Coincidence is wrong. Fate is correct. Coincidence is the mistake.
Don't mistake coincidence for fate.
Fate.
Mistake coincidence for fate. But for fate.
For fate.
Don't mistake coincidence for fate, which makes me think you're mistaken when you think it's fate because it's coincidence.
No.
Don't mistake coincidence for fate. Don't think coincidence is fate.
No.
Yeah, don't make the mistake of coincidence is fate.
No.
Yes.
Not even close.
Yes.
No, because if I say, okay, coincidence for fate. Fate is the above
If I
thing.
pointed at feathers and said, that's a chicken, would you say...
I would say don't mistake chickens for penguins.
Or don't mistake penguins for chickens.
It works either way.
No, it doesn't. Surely not. Don't mistake chickens for penguins. Don't mistake...
a chicken for a penguin.
Don't you think you're looking at a chicken, but you're actually looking at a penguin?
Yes, don't mistake a chicken for a penguin. Don't mistake a coincidence for fate.
Don't mistake a penguin for a chicken. Don't mistake a penguin for a chicken. Don't mistake a penguin for a chicken means you've seen a penguin and you think it's a chicken. No, that's the same thing.
You've seen a chicken. You've
seen a chicken and you think it's a penguin. Don't mistake a penguin for a chicken.
No.
Don't mistake a penguin for a chicken.
No.
Don't mistake a penguin for a chicken.
If you say to me, don't mistake a penguin for a chicken, what that means is I've looked at a penguin and gone, bark, bark! And you've gone, don't mistake a penguin for a chicken.
My brain is hurting. Don't mistake a penguin for a chicken. Don't mistake a penguin for a chicken. You've looked at a penguin and gone, bark, bark.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've mistaken a penguin as a chicken.
Yes. So, you've mistaken coincidence as fate.
As fate, yes.
So it is coincidence.
So it is fate, no.
You've mistaken it. It is a penguin. You said you've looked at a penguin and gone, buck, buck. So it is a penguin, but you've thought it's a chicken. Don't mistake a penguin for a chicken. So it is coincidence, but you think it's fate. Don't mistake coincidence for fate.
Okay, but he means it's fate. Echo objectively means it's fate. You can't say, in the context of Echo as a character being intensely spiritual, Echo telling that story about how they found the Bible, linking that to him finding the Bible in the Arrow and it having what John needs, and then them connecting it, you cannot say that he thinks that's a coincidence.
This is why I always thought it was Rogue.
He objectively
why
means,
does he say that
by that, he objectively means... this is fate.
Unless
because also John says to him, how crazy is this? What are the odds that this would happen? That's him saying it's a coincidence. If I say, what are the odds?
I thought it was like, what are the odds? They're so low, it must be fate.
Well, I mean, it could be. It could be.
We've got nowhere. But what I'm saying is maybe Echo is trying to be like, calm down a little bit.
No.
Don't jump the gun. Be wary.
No. Absolutely not. Echo thinks everything is fate.
But he's so wise. Do you know what I mean? I think he's clocked John. He's looked at him and assessed him.
John, definitely.
And gone, you're gonna go insane when you hear this, so just get ready.
But why would he tell that whole story?
I don't know.
Because if he'd set that up as like, John's gonna think that this is meant to be, and I don't think it is, he would be like, something crazy happened, I found a Bible, and it has the fact. He wouldn't be like, long before Christ. If you're settling in for a story, that means there's metaphorical significance to the story. So he obviously thinks it's fate.
What you're saying makes sense. But fate is such a difficult word in the context of the show, but also in the context of Christianity. Like, I'm not a Christian, I don't know that much about the Old Testament, the New Testament, all of these things, but, like, to say something is fate feels like it's a sort of pagan thing, or like predates Christianity, like, surely it's God's plan, right? Not fate. It's like, this is all intended. Fate makes it seem like a coincidence. Wait.
Oh my god.
No, fate is a plan.
Fate is the idea fate is the idea that things that happen are meant to happen. So that it was fate that Jack would meet Desmond in that stadium because they were then going to meet each other again 3 years later on the island.
Right.
It's fate that, I don't know, Claire was in the plane crash so that she would be forced to raise her baby. It's fate.
Okay. But if you were religious...
You would think that someone has planned that for you. Yeah.
God,
yes. But I think it's like the way we perceive it is as fate. But it's like, I'm saying, I'm here claiming the island has sentience, the island is planning these things, the island is trying to help Kate get over her fear. From her perspective, it might be that it's fate that she saw the black horse. But maybe forget about the horse thing, because that's a different thing. But you know what I'm getting at, right? Fate is the same thing as a God's plan. Yeah, it's all just different words for saying it's predestined.
Okay.
It's written in the stars. It was planned by a god. It was, it was meant to happen.
Okay.
It's fate. It's destiny. It's... I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
And what Echo is claiming is that we have to have faith that these things will align, and that he was meant to find that Bible because he was meant to go to the hatch and meet John and help him with the video. And that it's fate that they have reconnected in that way. And that it was, Echo who first went down to the hatch and all of that nonsense.
I do see what you're saying, I do. And it makes complete sense. Apart from the actual phrase, don't mistake a coincidence for fate, I can't hear that without thinking that he's saying it is coincidence and you're mistaking it for fate.
I understand why you think that, but I think also it's the gravity of the words in terms of the way they sound. Because coincidence is a very long word that is emphasised in a sentence. If I said don't mistake fate for coincidence...
Oh, it doesn't sound as cool, not nearly as much.
First of all, it doesn't sound nearly as cool, but also if someone said to me, don't mistake fate for coincidence, what I would think is, it's a coincidence. And if someone said to me, don't mistake coincidence for fate, I think either way round, you would assume coincidence is the correct answer, because it's the longer, more emphasised word.
Maybe that's a way of our brains are structured, maybe. And I'm not criticising the line, because I think it's an excellent line, and I think there's a reason it's an iconic and quotable line, because it's well constructed, linguistically speaking. It sounds nice. It's like saying, it's raining dogs and cats. Just doesn't sound right.
Doesn't flow.
However, I'm confused.
God forbid a bilingual man fuck up his phrasing.
So I wrote down he Marshall, and I don't know whether it's because he'd or because I was he-heing seeing the Marshall.
I think you were probably la 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 Marshall.
La 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 the Marshall. Me la 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 again. It's one of the worst men you've ever seen.
One of the most objectively villainous characters in the show.
So yes, congratulations, Velvet, on finding 10 reasons why I would like the episode.
I'm trying to think of a reason, an episode I really hate that you're gonna have, that we should do this again. But I can't.
We'll get there, I'm sure.
I feel like I'm largely more blasé about judgment of the episodes. You're the one who's I hate this episode.
And I do still really dislike this episode. There are things about it that are great. Mainly the final scene. I do really, really love the final scene. And it could even be a scene that's so important to Ariel. It's verging on that. I
would expect it to be.
The reason it's not is because you can hear the section of the tape playing in the background, which is pissing me off. But yes, I think, as we were saying, when you look back on these episodes, you think about the main plotline and the flashbacks. I never want to watch this episode because I just think the horse pisses me off so much. I'm the fucking horse episode. What Kate did, that's the horse episode.
But see, the thing is, I never even think of it as being the horse episode, because if you say to me what Kate did, what I'm immediately thinking of is her setting fire to the house. And I don't think about the rest of the episode.
It's part and parcel with the horse.
No, but I don't really I think if you'd asked me which one's the horse episode, I'd be I don't know. Some point in season 2.
Maybe I remember because of my anger.
Maybe.
There's a card in a board game as well, which is you encounter a horse.
There is also a card in the board game which is you get possessed.
Yeah,
which has a picture of Sawyer in the bed,
he's
reaching up at you.
Mm-hmm. This is one of... It's one of the things that annoys me the most on a petty level, I think.
Because it's just a bit stupid.
Because it's just goofy and silly, and it never gets explained properly, and that does annoy me. But it's more the fact that I feel there's a tonal disjunction because of do you know that horse and why did you kill me?
I think it's because the concept of a horse on an island.
Horse is a funny animal.
Horse is a funny animal.
Jot that down.
I think if it had been a bull, it wouldn't be as funny, you know?
We'd feel differently, I think.
I would feel low if it was like a big pig or something.
Or a deer. Deers are quite majestic, aren't
if it was
they?
like a
They
stag.
could run out into the road, couldn't they?
Yeah, I think it's the fact that it's a horse. I think that horses, particularly horse actors, always look a bit scared. That makes them kind of funny.
And of course, like, the association of a horse girl.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Kate is a horse girl, which I can see for her. It's a shame, because it's like, she's cool. She's objectively cool in this episode, you know, riding on the motorcycle away from the burning house and, like, planning all this crime and, like, really, like, you know, getting on her. But she's a horse girl. Is what we learn about her. She's a horse girl. Unfortunately, guys, there's a bad Charlie one coming up. So
there is a shocking Charlie.
If you think I got angry about this episode, just you wait.
That one's gonna be bad.
Just you wait, divas.
I'm gonna stop you. Yeah, I'm gonna preface that one. It's not gonna go well.
No. But luckily, next week's a good one.
We've got a nice one before that, I think. Yes, we've got a very good one. Next week is the 23rd Psalm.
They're not songs, they're psalms. The 23rd Psalm is one of the best episodes of the season.
I would say one of the best episodes of the show.
We've had lots of trauma, we've had lots of intense
We've had lots of heavy hitters this season, but this one
so good. I mean, it's got one of the numbers in the title.
So you know it's good.
So you know it's good. What more could you ask for, really? So yeah, that's an excellent one.
And I'm really looking forward to talking about it.
Me too. Because
it's one of those ones where, like, from the beginning, I've been like, I want to talk about this plotline.
The thing is, though, I've been thinking about how I'm going to rank this season. Now that I know I'm going to do it, definitely.
It's going to be so hard.
And I've been like, I feel like I have the top 5 locked in. And now I don't know, because I forgot about the 23rd Psalm.
I really don't know. I can't even think about that, I don't think, until later. Yeah.
It's so tough.
It's going to be really hard.
Because this season is so good, which I think is why this episode stands out in particular to me.
This is the thing.
This
you
one is
get,
bad.
like, the mediocre episodes stand out as really terrible.
Yeah.
Because the rest, like, a lot of this season, genuinely, like, I would say more than half of the episodes I would give a 5 out of 5.
Completely.
You know?
Completely. This is the best season of the show. Straight up.
Oh, yeah.
It's so...
I know people disagree, but personally,
we both think this is the best one. We do disagree on some of the others, I know.
Yeah.
But we both agree that this is the best season, and it frustrates me that it's not the perfect season. And of course it's not gonna be, but I'm like, ugh, this episode... The horse... Why did you kill me? What do you mean that's in the best season? Like, do you see what I'm saying?
I know.
If that had come in season 5, I'd been like, do you know what? We're past the point.
Fine. Sure. Sawyer's possessed with a guy.
Okay.
Okay, man. But we're gonna stop there.
Yes.
We're gonna stop there because we're gonna get too far into the 23rd Psalm, and there's a lot to say next week.
Yeah.
So we're gonna leave that for then.
Yeah, prepare for more yapping. Hope you enjoyed our yapping today. We're going to be yapping a lot next week.
I sincerely hope the editors cut down the penguin chicken thing.
I think leave it in its entirety. You know, in the audio commentary they were talking about you don't often get long scenes of dialogue, which are really important.
Echo and John on either side of the table going, no, so if I say don't mistake a book for a pen...
You've looked at the chicken and you've gone, that's a chicken.
And Echo's going, no, you've looked at the penguin.
Oh yeah, no, it's not really a chicken. So we've...
That's what they were doing while Michael was on the computer. John was going, what do you mean don't mistake coincidence for thing?
No, I've been thinking about it actually after you said it and I'm confused. Could you clarify?
Could you maybe clarify that?
Yeah. That has really thrown me.
Can't believe all this time you thought he meant it was a coincidence.
Well, because if you think about the sentence in isolation...
Yeah, but obviously, contextually, it means it's fate. Like...
I forgot the context. But the
context is Echo said it.
No, but I didn't remember Echo said it.
All you need is Echo said it, and you know that it's really fate. But I'm hungry, so
Yeah,
we're
I'm
going to stop
starving.
this.
We've got to stop, guys.
We said we were going to eat lunch before we recorded, and then we were like, what if we just didn't?
Let's just
And
power through.
I'm really hungry.
That was a mistake. Okay, don't mistake not eating lunch for recording a podcast.
Or something.
or whatever. Guys, thank you for providing me emotional support like Mike Wazowski did. Follow me on Instagram at Ariel Hebditch. Follow the podcast.
Follow
on
the
all
podcast
of the things. The
all
links are
over.
in the description. Join us next week for an excellent episode. Goodbye.
Thank you, bye.